Hi guys. Alright, so today, well, as of right now, we'll be going through Kismet and moving platforms and levers, and the way to do that is by Unreal, Kismet, and Matinee. So for all the kids that want to do puzzles and doors opening on certain things, or swinging objects, or dodging in pressure plates, these can all be done with Kismet, Matinee, and using triggers to animate certain things. So we're going to go through that as fast as possible. So first thing we have a platform over here and a platform over here. The objective, let's say, is to get over here, and don't click on that. Don't click. So what we need is something to go across, and what we're going to do is create a platform that goes from here to here. And how we're going to do that is first by opening the content browser, and we're going to find a static mesh to make a platform, a moving platform. So we're going to scroll through this, find a moving platform. It's taking forever. We'll just use that for right now. A box, a crate. That seems good. Let's make this down here. Alright, so I kind of discussed it. I went over in this class today, but we'll go over it one more time. Now, this is just a static mesh. It's not a InterpActor. There are two different types of meshes to use and to animate with Kismet and stuff. So we need to make it an InterpActor. This is a static mesh. So once a static mesh is in the scene, usually UDK has to do this because it's kind of dumb sometimes, but you'll have to drag a static mesh in from the content browser like we just did, and then using you've got to delete it. So function delete, highlight it back in the content browser, right click into the scene onto a face, and we're going to add InterpActor, Castle Assets Meshes crate. And that's going to come up, and now it is an InterpActor, not just a static mesh. So once we make it a static mesh, there's a couple things that we got to remember. We need to add collision to it, so we can double left click on it, or we can go function F4, and that'll bring up the properties for that InterpActor. As you can see, it's InterpActor 1. What we want is collision, and it still say collision type no collision. What we want to do is block all, and this will add a rigid body to it, and it will make a surface that we can actually hop on. So from here, you don't need the content browser anymore. What you can do now is we can add a trigger or a trigger volume, but we'll do just a basic trigger for right now. So we'll right click, add actor, add trigger, and the trigger will appear. You can scale this up differently, and that should be it. That's a good trigger size. From here, we need to go into Unreal Kismet and make something happen with this trigger. If pressed, or if you are in radius of this, it will start moving from this side right here, this location, to, just for visual sake, this side to this side. See? So let's go into Unreal Kismet. Alright, Unreal Kismet. You've seen it before in the other tutorials, and so what we're going to do is, while I'm locked onto this trigger in the Unreal Editor, I'm going to right click, and you're going to scroll down to new event using trigger 0, _0, and we're going to do touch. Now there's two different types of, well, there's multiple types of triggers, but event types for triggers. There's touch, where you just enter it and it automatic, as soon as you enter the radius. So if I were to take this player start, say this is you, and you enter the radius within the trigger volume, automatically that crate is going to move from this point to this point. And you can do that, or you can use a new event. We'll delete that really fast just for time's sake. And touch. Oh, no, that's not right. Okay, so we've touched the trigger or we've selected the trigger instead of Unreal Editor. I'm going to right click, new event using trigger, used. Used is essentially like in Portal, when you press E to pick up an object. E is to use and enter vehicles in Unreal. So that's the basic. It's already built in for you. So you can press E. Used, this type of trigger, is represented as E. But we won't use that for right now. So we'll use touch, just entering. So now that this is done, what we want to do is now create a matinee, which is like an animation where this crate moves from this side to this side. And let's do that right now. So we're going to right click in Unreal Kismet, going to go new matinee, and this little box will pop up, and look at that. This is just data. So we can click and drag with left click, once touched, play the matinee. And then once it's completed, we can reverse it. So it'll come back. Yeah, that should be it. We're going to click into matinee, and this window will pop up. It's an animation timeline, essentially. If you've never seen an animation timeline before, you have keyframes, and you have your actual time that you're actually recording your animations. So you have, this is seconds right here. So if we zoom in, we can scroll in. So this is 0 seconds. This is where we'll start automatically. We have 0.5 seconds, 1 second, 1.5, 2, and so on. So we're going to make this kind of slow, and we're going to put it 3 seconds. Doesn't sound slow, but it is. So with your static mesh selected in the Unreal Editor, so left click out of it and then left click on that, we're going to then right click in Unreal Matinee and add new empty group. We're going to name it Plat 01. And then nothing will happen really, but what you need to do is add a movement track now. This is just basic movement, pivoting and moving back and forth and so on, like that. So we're going to right click, add new movement track right here. And so it's already created a keyframe for me. This little red dot up here is a keyframe. So what we want to do is scroll along the timeline. This is where it starts reading the seconds. This is the start point. This is your keyframe. So like the red is your keyframe, the green is where you start. And if we zoom out with the scroll wheel, zoom in with the scroll wheel, we can go along the timeline, but nothing's happening right now because we haven't done anything. We haven't created a keyframe, or we haven't made a movement for the for the InterpActor, which is our crate, which is supposed to move across the platforms. So we're going to put this at the end, and we're going to leave it there. And then we're going to press Enter, or Return is one of the options on our keyboards. So Actually, we're not going to do that yet. First, we have to move the actual object across to the other platform. Then we press enter. Now you're going to notice that there was a yellow dot before and now there's a dotted line. This is our animation cycle and our movement. So if we go back into Unreal Matinee and we press this button up top, right next to, it looks like a play button, which it is, and then there's a loop section, there's a stop, and then there's play in reverse. We're going to go to loop to make sure it's going from one spot to the other, so let's click on that. So as you can see in Unreal Editor, you're seeing it go, once triggered, it'll go across. And you can do these for multiple objects. You can do this with pressure switches. You can use the trigger to lower an InterpActor and then activate something else. So we'll close out of this for right now, and then we will build the whole scene. This shouldn't take that long. And then, there you go. Close out of that. Run it. Alright. And I'm inside. Platform across. And now it should reverse. And there you go. And that's how to use that type of trigger to in Kismet with that object. Stop there.